Hi there everybody, it's Verity here from inkandbutterfly.com. Thank you so much for joining me again today for another card making video. So today we are featuring cards with the Pretty Florals bundle. Okay, two-step stamping, coordinating dies, Lush. So there's stuff that will cut out the stamped images plus loads of extras, so you can build up all sorts of florals with or without the stamp set. Okay, so that's a really lovely set. I'm going to show you the catalogue in a second because there's another set that goes with this as part of a sort of mega suite. Okay, at the time of filming, I don't know whether the offer is still on with the buy one get one half price on the suites. If it is still on, it might be worth having a look. The sentiment, because there's no sentiments in that particular set, I've taken from this Sunshine Vibes. So we're going to use the thanks from that. Could use the hello or whatever. So obviously pick a sentiment from your sets that you've got yourself. Okay, and we're going to be creating these cards with the coordinating designer series paper. Okay, we'll show you a bit more of that in the catalogue in a minute. I've used Granny Apple Green because I've pulled that out of this side of pattern paper, and I've mirrored that with this one. And I've kind of done it sort of an inside out, if you like. So I've got the thin strip with the florals, thin strip with the reverse, and then swapped it round, but I've kept the topper and the ribbon the same. So just a sort of variation on a theme with this. Okay, so we're going to use a different pattern paper to make the cards with you today. But first of all, I just thought I'd show you just quickly the suite. Okay, so there's some nice inspiration across catalogue pages 40, 1, 2 and 3. Okay, got the colour combinations, uses all in colours are in this suite. So it's a really fun set. So this is the Pretty Florals that we're working with today. There is also Sweet Blooms that coordinates, okay, in colour pearls. And then we've got, this is the designer series paper. Okay, so as you can see, I've used this one for the sample. We're going to use this one for the one we're going to create with you on camera, but we've got some other patterns in there as well. And there is also a DSP and sticker sheet in the same patterns. I don't do you get all of the designs? Yeah, you do. Okay, but you get a different mix of the paper. I don't think you get the whatever it is, 4 sheets or whatever it is of the paper. I think you get a sort of a mix and match. It might even say 13 sheets, 2 each of 6 double-sided designs. Okay, and then 1 sticker sheet. Okay, so you do get 2 of each. You can also get a coordinating 2-tone cardstock pack, which is also really cool because it's got most of the in colours in it. Excuse me. The 2-tone colour packs are actually quite cool. There's a couple of different ones, and if you combine this one with the Celebrate Together, you'll actually get most of the in colours across there in a couple of sheets of each, if you don't want to get a whole pack. So that's another tip for you there. Okay, so loads of things that complement each other, and then obviously if you're into scrapbooking, there's a nice little scrapbooking layout into there. So it all coordinates together. So this is the paper that we're using today on the camera with you. So we've got sort of more oranges and yellows, and on the other side we've got orange and yellow. So for my card base, I'm actually going to bring in Calypso Coral. That isn't the colour in here, but I thought it would be a nice contrast. Okay, this is actually Timid Tiger, but that darker spot I thought we could get away with the Calypso coral. So we're going to do that, okay, and we'll use this one. So obviously it's a directional paper, but I thought I'd show you how I cut this for the cards. So first of all, I'm going to cut it to the correct height. Okay, so for that, I'm going to turn it this way round. Okay, and we're going to go to 5 1/4. Okay, so that's 1/2 inch smaller than a full card layer. Okay, it's going to layer onto some willow white, which I've cut to 5 1/2. Okay, so this is a nice big piece that we can use for other things, so we can pop that to one side. So the width that we need for our card fronts is actually 3 3/4. Okay, so we're going to cut that at 3 3/4. Okay, I may as well do it twice right now. 3 3/4. Oh, easy 3 3/4. Let me just check that. It's 3 1/2. I knew that didn't sound right. 3 1/2. Oh dear. Don't. In fact, I might cut this side. 3 1/2. And 3 1/2 again. And you can kind of, you know, if you wanted to go from the other side, you can do. I'm not too worried. And then you'll have a decent scrap there as well to do something else with at another time. And then to get your sort of inverse bit, you want to just sort of, I looked at this and just thought, this bit is prettier than that bit. So that's the bit I'm going to cut off. Okay. And I think I just did 1 inch. Let me just check. Yeah, just lopped off 1 inch. So I'm using this side of the cutting there, and then we can flip that over. Okay, and we'll do the same with this one. Which side am I going to cut off? I think I'll cut off this side. Actually, I'm going to be flipping over. I'm going to be keeping the 1 inch side on this one, aren't I? So let me keep this side. And we'll flip this one over. Okay, and you can kind of mix and match it and do them in different orientations if you want. Okay, but that's what we're going to end up with. Okay, cool. And then you could always mess about with your pieces. So, you know, if you prefer that bit to go with it and that bit, you can. The back side doesn't really matter too much, but you can kind of mess about with the layering and see what you think will look better. I like this one because it's got more of the this is actually strawberry slush, which is what we're going to use with the floral. Okay, and we've got this one. Okay, so you can kind of experiment with how you cut that out. Okay, let's zoom back in. Okay, so that you can see a bit more clearly what I'm doing. So I've already cut the white layers that I want to use. So, oops, so I've already got some die cuts that I don't want to lose. So let's construct our card fronts, and then they're done and ready. Okay, so here's our white bits, and I'm just going to use some Stampin' Seal to stick that down. Just get that border even, top and bottom, and then hopefully everything else should line up nicely. And hopefully you've cut everything the right size, which is the other consideration with some of this stuff. Okay, we've got a border like so. Okay, so it's not going to be it's not as impactful as the other one, but I think it's going to look really, really cute with the calypso to really help that sort of pop. Okay, look good when it's all complete. So we've got that one done. Now we're going to do the same with this one. So flip that over, pop some seal along that and along this. Quite like doing these twofer projects, and it's nice to see two different ways of using the same products to create something different. Okay, so there we go with that one. Cute. Okay, so on the sample cards I used the silver mesh ribbon, or silver and white ribbon, whatever it's called, but we're going to use this gold mesh ribbon because it's warmer tones. Okay, so I'm just going to grab myself a couple of bits of tape. So that we can do that. Okay, and we're going to just line that up across that seam, just to hide that a little bit. So we'll just secure that onto the back, wrap it round, and secure it on the back. And then we'll cut that off with my ribbon scissors, and we'll do exactly the same with this one. So if you line it up on the front first and then take it over the back, hopefully be in the right place once we secure it. And those lines on the ribbon will help you keep it straight. There we go. And then we will need bows as well, so we can get those tied off. If you keep the ribbon on the spool, you can hopefully minimise any wastage on that. Give yourself plenty of room to do your loops and dupes, though don't want it too big. So you just pull and tighten that. You almost want to take it smaller than what you want it and then pull it, because it will kind of get a bit larger as you pull it through. Okay, and then to get your tails the same length, if you're not all fingers and thumbs like I am today apparently, you can just cut them both at the same time. And we'll do the one. Don't need quite as much at the end here, so let's do that again. Sometimes if you have it too short though, it just makes it all the more difficult to get those loops round and doing what you need them to do. So it's kind of the payoff from being frugal. Sometimes it's a bit more of a faff. Okay, that will do with that one. And again, just bunch that together. It's not quite even, but okay, we've got 2 bows ready to go when we want them. It's a really nice lush ribbon that is, isn't it? Look at that. Okay, so die cutting wise then, I've already done a few of these already, but obviously I just wanted to show you the 2-step stamping. We need to stamp our sentiments as well. I've already stamped the the foliage, which I've done in Granny Apple Green. So again, it's not a colour that's in the paper if you go by the that spread, but there is a bright green in there, so I'm going to pop that on there ready to go, because we also need to do some more of these sort of little flowers. And you know, I'm just going to rummage for some cardstock scraps. Right, okay, that looks like it might be big enough. And we're using strawberry slush, and it's the 2-step stamping, so we need both the solid one and the outline there to do this. Now, choice is yours whether you do the outline first or whether you do the sort of solid stamp first. I find that depending on which ink you're using and whether it's light or dark, kind of determines what would work best. So when I was doing my samples, I did do the solid first, but I had a bit of a job lining up the lines on this one, so I've opted to do that, and actually that's better. Whereas with the I used a Petunia Pop on the other one, and it was much easier to do that the other way around. The solid first and then the line over the top. So you want to stamp it off, hover over the top, doesn't matter if it's not quite right anyway, and then do that, and then you'll get a little bit of it more coloured in. Don't have to fill it in, you could just leave it as the outline if you wanted to. Just going to wipe that off quickly. Okay, and there's a die for that. So that just goes over the top there. So we've got 2 of these to cut and 2 of the little sort of stems. Now in the all the samples, it looks like they've used the other stem with these, but I don't think it really matters which stem you use. So you do whatever you feel. This is going to be too narrow, isn't it? Oh no, not quite. So this is a super tiny, I think this is about 1/4 inch. This strip of cardstock, again, it's just something that I had in the scrap bin, and I'm going to use Timid Tiger ink to stamp that on there. And I want it nice and close and skinny. So just hover over the top again, just make sure you're lining that up. And photopolymer really makes that really nice and easy to do. Okay, so that's all the stamping done. Okay, so like I say, we're aiming for this, but we're using some different colourways. Okay, so let's just run these through the die cut machine. Won't take long. So that's that one. Whoops, a daisy. You don't want to. So there's one. We'll reposition the die for our second one. So in total I wanted 2 of these because there's sort of 3 positions for flower heads to go onto this. And then I'd already had 4, so I want 6 of these in total to go onto the cards. Okay, so let's run that one through as well. There we go. Right, so we've got 6 of them and 2 of these. So I'm just going to bring in a silicone craft sheet and the die puts on these little bits here which are little glue bits. Okay, so I'm just going to use a bit of multi-purpose adhesive. Just put a little bead of glue on each of those. And then you can position your flowers. And they can overlap and they can do whatever they need to do. Oops. That's why you do it on a craft sheet, so that any excess glue doesn't end up on your desk. And then we can just pop that to one side just for a couple of minutes while we do some more on our card bases. Okay, so we'll just pop those to one side just for a second. Our little sentiment strips we can just cut down as well. So I'm just going to cut those at an angle, and then you don't have to worry about them being straight. Just go with it. I'm not even worried about both ends being even. You can make them even if you want to, but I'm not going to worry about it. So we've got 2 of those ready to go. Okay, so card bases, then we can start constructing some of this stuff. Okay, we're also going to need 2 circles. I'm just going to use my 2-inch punch for this, just because it's quick. You can use use the stylish shapes on the sample cards. So you know, it's up to you, whichever you prefer. So let's add these to our card base. Plenty of adhesive, so I'm not popping this up, so it's got to stick well with that ribbon in place as well. So and we're going to have a nice generous border on this, so it's going to really pop that colour through from the card base. prefer to open mine out so they're nice and flat. And make sure it's the right way up. Okay, just press that down nice and firmly. Okay, so we've got that ready to go as well. So we're going to need a couple of dimensionals on the back of these, either side of the ribbon. So I'm just going to pop them kind of east and west on there so that they're ready to go. But I don't know how high up they're going to go yet until we've placed everything else. So let's pop our ribbons on. So I'm going to use my trusty glue dots to do this. I did glue dots for ribbons, or bows I should say. Okay, so just press it onto that adhesive really firmly, and then you can use a craft pick or whatever. So you can now sort of judge where you want that in terms of the orientation on your card. So I want my tail, so I don't want my tails to sort of disappear off the end. I like it the way they are. So I'll do that ×2. And this one's kind of gone. Sometimes the tails go out to the side a bit, so you can always trim it as well if you want them a little bit shorter, or doesn't want it as high as they've been. Okay, we can bring in our sort of circle that we're going to use as a backdrop, and we can sort of tuck that in. Like so. And then we can add our flowers. So hopefully these are set enough for us to do that. Okay, I'm just having a look to see, so just want to make sure that I've got enough support on these to make sure that they don't sort of move too much. So we can pop a large dimensional behind all of those. Dear, I can't pick it up. So just where that join is, I'm just going to pop a dimensional, which will help just keep it all nice and secure. Okay, take all those off. You can have loads of fun with this set. There's some very elaborate makes with this if you want to cut out lots of pieces and create whole sort of home decor pieces and things like that. This looks cute. That's secured like that, and then the sentiments we're just going to use. They're going to go across here. It's kind of got a lot of layers and stuff, so I'm just going to put on plenty of wet glue across that so that we can pop that in where it needs to go. And it should secure very nicely once that glue all dries. Very, very strong adhesive, so even though it's only in contact with certain portions of that cardstock and those layers, it will be really nice and secure. Okay. Now on this one, because I used the silver ribbon, I just used some rhinestones, but I've got some of these gold, whatever these are, from left over from a kit, so I'm going to use those to decorate these today. As I bringing in all that colour again. So I just want my little 3 there, so that that finishes that off. Okay, right, so there we go. 2 for 1 in terms of cutting the designer series paper and sort of flipping over different portions, so you can have more floral or less floral depending on what you want to achieve. Really like the warm tones and the gold accents on this. It looks completely different to the sample card, but I don't think they're any less pretty, just some variations. Okay, so if we pop those two together, so they're the ones with the florals, most the larger section of the florals, and then these ones with the patterns. So, you know, it's kind of your choice as to which way you want to go with that and how you want to cut them to create your designs. Okay, and there's loads of variations you can do with that. We can do top and bottom and do some angles and all kinds of things. So I hope that's given you an idea of what you can do with this particular set. Okay, everything's going to be linked in the descriptions if you want to have a look at it, and then obviously there's a link to the online store so you can browse the offers that are available at the moment, if there are any in fact. So do have a look. Thanks ever so much for joining me for a longer video again today. Hope you've enjoyed it. Stay safe, take care, and I'll see you again soon. Bye bye.